A colleague asked whether there is an ethics of doing one's homework, or if you will, a Christian ethic for getting one's children to do their homework. I have to admit, I've actually never seen or read about such thing, though obviously there's lots of Christian literature out there about schooling, etc. But what might be some idea of an ethics of homework or getting one's children to do it? I think, of course, it would have to have something to do with an ethic of human flourishing, is what it would have to do, have something to do with, not necessarily an ethic of obligation, or mainly an ethic about children obeying their parents. I think the frame would have to be an ethics of flourishing. Because what's the goal of homework in the first place? Ideally, it has to do with learning, and learning oriented towards flourishing. Even flourishing that emerges from homework we might do, that we might think at the time, I just don't want to do this, you see. So I think it has to be framed by human flourishing, framed by thinking about the future and not just thinking about the labor of the present, the mental labor of the present, or just the sitting down and doing it of the present. And of course, here's sort of the other thing that's lingering, at least for me when I think about any kind of ethics of homework, is it even really just for the children doing their homework? What if you're in the world of academia, as I am? In the world of academia, as I am, well, there always seems to be a little bit more homework, whether it's another book to read, another thing to write, etc. And of course, big picture, what's the aim of this? Is it really just to build one's reputation or to create some name for themselves? Ideally, hopefully, it really is oriented toward one's flourishing by their encounter with various dimensions of life in the world that we encounter through reading, that we encounter through writing, and that we encounter through having done our homework in modes of presentation. Those things really can help us flourish. So to me, if there's an ethics of homework, it has something to do with being an ethic of human flourishing. But that's my initial take on this interesting question from my colleague.